nice try, franchise, but no. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. The Nun is the 5th film in the Conjuring universe series. God damn it, another one? I find this franchise just so fascinating because it originally started with a film that was based on real paranormal investigators, and only the 2 films that featured them are actually based on real events. And even those take a lot of liberties. The other prequels are completely fictional. It's almost like this is an alternate universe where paranormal activity is a much more common thing and the Warrens played bigger parts in certain cases. But whether or not you find them scary, I will give the franchise credit that they do a really decent job of connecting the films and the storylines. It can be a bit of a stretch at times, but at least it does make sense. And this time around, it still does connect at the end and make sense, but it's still quite a stretch. The Nun is based on the nun demon Balak that appeared in The Conjuring 2, and it's not exactly an origin story, but apparently in the 1950s this demon was haunting a convent in Romania, and a priest, as well as a nun in training, are sent over there to investigate it. And of course, jump scares ensue. This movie did not do it for me at all. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I liked it less than I liked the first Annabelle movie. I don't know if it was just me, but it was not that scary. This was so much like Slender Man again, where it had a few little creepy scares here and there, but ultimately I was just so bored and lost throughout all of it. I didn't really care that much about the priest character in this movie. I mean, the actor himself was pretty good, he didn't do a bad job or anything, but the character itself, I just didn't really see that much of an arc. But Taissa Farmiga as Sister Irene actually did do a pretty good job, and she was able to deliver a pretty effective performance. She was scared, she was brave, and she stood on her own as the right person to investigate this convent. And it's actually kind of interesting because Taissa Farmiga is the younger sister of Vera Farmiga, who plays Lorraine Warren in the Conjuring films. And I don't think they're trying to connect these characters or make them seem like they're related. I don't think so, but hey, there's more sequels coming, so you never know. Also, it's a little weird this time because now all of a sudden in this franchise we have a comedy relief character in the form of Frenchie, who's kind of like this guide for both of our main leads. That was so unusual, and his comic relief actually does take me out of the film a little bit, but to the movie's credit, he's not in it that much, and it's not like super over the top and annoying. And he also ends up playing a big part in connecting this movie to the very first Conjuring movie, which is again a little bit of a stretch, but okay. And since this was a prequel movie, what really took me out of watching it is that I know for a fact this demon is going to come back later, so no matter what happens in this movie, it's not gonna matter because we're gonna see her later in The Conjuring 2 in the 1970s. That alone was enough to take away the suspense and the scare from this story. And it's too bad because the nun character is really creepy, guys. I remember the painting in The Conjuring 2 where the nun looks super intimidating, but then when the lights were turned out, her eyes seemed to bulge out more. I saw the way it haunted Lorraine in the office. That alone was enough to make this demon leave a memorable and terrifying impression. Too bad, because there's really not a whole lot in this movie that's a lot like that one scene, and I know she's coming back in 20 or so years, so I'm not worried. And this film just really lost me on the logic at times, because so much throughout the movie they would do that thing where you have a character who's looking at something, but then they turn away, and then they turn back and it's not there, or the exact opposite. Oh my gosh, you guys, there is only so many times you can do that in a movie before it starts really feeling like a gimmick. The one way that I actually felt like this was consistently effective was the nuns themselves in the convent, who are constantly covered by the habits, and you don't always know, like, looking forward at them if they have a face or not, so if you only see the back of them or just the side, that can be really eerie. That was really creepy at times. But then there's the numerous jump scares that really don't seem to tie into much, at least not as far as the story itself, and also it's just kind of there to give you a scare every once in a while, which as a lot of us know is one of the worst excuses for having a jump scare in a movie. But even those are kind of boring because you can always tell in this movie when a jump scare is going to happen. It's never this like really big surprise. It's quiet, it's real quiet, it's coming, I know it's coming, and oh Oh, there it is. There's a jump scare. Oh, what a shock. And it's too bad because I feel like the best jump scare in this movie was that shot in the trailer where the girl is walking down the hallway and then she sees the nun in the background and she turns around and you think that nun's gonna attack her, but nope, here comes one from the other way. But we all saw that in the trailer, so not even that one was able to get us. If we're gonna be honest, yeah, a couple of the jump scares got me a few times, but I think it was more because it was a loud sound in a really quiet moment. It wasn't because I was like scared for the character or it was like genuinely a surprise. And because I can just see when every single jump scare is coming, it really loses the suspense. And when I don't have any fear in this kind of movie, I just don't care about what's at stake. And again, the logic in this movie was just so hard to grasp at times because it was really hard to understand just what was real or what was an illusion or what was a vision. And they do the whole thing with like, oh no, that was a vision that you saw, that wasn't actually real, but it's still just like, it doesn't really add up in some ways. Okay, one of my biggest pet peeves in the movie, there's a scene where the priest is trapped in a coffin, an empty coffin, I might add. There is clearly nothing in it. He is in an empty wooden box. But once he's rescued and they look back inside the coffin, there's all of a sudden all this crap in there like jewelry and books and even a skeleton. What the hell? Where did those come from? I know for a fact that those things were not in there. So why are they suddenly in there, movie? And they don't even address it. They're not like, wait a minute, those weren't there before. They're just like, oh, look, books. Maybe those will have some answers. Huh? And hey, you know what? It also doesn't help that there's a few moments in the movie that are just unintentionally hilarious. Yeah, nothing to do with that comic relief character. We're talking about parts that are like, rawr, scary, and then you're just like, that was really funny. And you know, for a movie that's really only about an hour and a half in length, it sure felt like it was trying to fill in and stretch out its runtime. Oh my god, so much exposition and talking. No, movie, no, that is not how you make a movie interesting. Stop it! But I will give the movie this. One thing it does have going for it is the atmosphere. The whole time that they are in this convent, it is creepy as hell. And to my knowledge, it's apparently illegal to film at churches in Romania, so they actually had to build all the interiors from scratch, but I totally believe when they were in that space that this is a convent that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's old looking crosses everywhere. Sometimes in the background they'll just have furniture or statues just kind of lingering in the background covered by sheets. I may not have been creeped out by the story, but it sure did look creepy. But other than that and some decent acting, I just really didn't get anything from this movie. It felt like it was trying to grab all the common horror movie tropes and recycle them over and over and over again in one movie, and it just relied way too much on that. The Nun has some creatively creepy imagery and atmosphere, but if you're keeping up with the franchise, this movie is just so boring and underwhelming in comparison to the others. It could have been something good, but it just really needed to ground itself more in its logic and not have so much goddamn talking. In all honesty and in my personal opinion, I think you can just skip this movie. It doesn't really go any further into the world or the Warrens or even create any more understanding of this universe, and it's really not scary, so why bother? If creepy atmosphere movies with religious undertones are your thing, then okay, sure, go ahead and check it out for the sake of checking it out, but for everyone else who's a big fan of this franchise, this film is appropriately named The Nun because there is just none to care about in this movie. So those are my thoughts on the Conjuring universe film, The Nun, so now I want to know, what did you guys think of the movie? Also let me know, what's your favorite film in this franchise, and are there any other films or movies or TV shows coming out soon that you want me to review? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below, be sure to like and share, and if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes out, because I make new videos every week! Bye, Adorkable Buddies, I'll see you soon!